Bonjour, this is Jasmine. Thank you so much for stopping to smell the roses on Rue Madame. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I am a writer, a storyteller, and a community builder. So check me out on Patreon where I write, do a lot of essays, and I also have a French and English podcast and other fun stuff. So check that out. Today, I am doing a video on my greatest life moment. I have a very curious subscriber, his name is Liam, who asked me to do this video, so I am here. And I was wondering, what is my greatest life moment? I'm 32 years old, so I've had several ups and downs and very significant life moments. I wrote them down. I have two children, so you would think that, having children would be one of those moments, but they're on the list, but they wouldn't be on the top of my list. So baby one, baby two, love them. My graduated from college in 2012 with my bachelor's degree in science. So that is one, but it's not on my top list. As far as my graduation, I was just so happy to be done. I was so relieved to be finished. It was kind of a blur. I'm like, after 5 years of relentless study and work, I was just so happy to be finished. And I took a year off, so that's why it took 5 years instead of 4. It was just a grueling process. So it wasn't my greatest life moments, although it's on the list. And then I also wrote down my wedding. I got married in 2016 to my wonderful husband, John Paul. That is on the list, but I wouldn't say my greatest because we were together 2 years and every day was a great moment. So that one day, I think, doesn't take shine away from all the other days that we had, special moments we had together. And I also wrote down my marriage proposal. That was a phenomenal day. My husband proposed to me in Italy, in Venice, to be precise. That's another video, but it's not on my tippity top list. So it's not on the top of my list. How I met my husband, that is another video. But that isn't also one of my top greatest moments. Coming to France, not for the first time, but for the second time, will probably be in my top 3. I don't know what order that would be in, but I would say definitely coming to France would be on the top of my list of my greatest moments. So I'm going to talk a little about that. Another crucial moment was my travels. So I traveled to how many countries? I've been to Spain, Portugal, England, Germany, Greece. Did I mention Great Britain? Been to Great Britain and Canada, but that really doesn't count because it's just like, for an American, it really doesn't count. But yeah, but my travels is probably my second greatest moments. So there's several trips that I will talk about. And my third greatest moment, let me see. Third greatest moment is launching Rue Madame. So I'll get to all of those. So we're going to talk about the first time I came to Paris. The first time I came to Paris, it was for a 6-week study abroad. And I had 4 roommates, a girl from Ghana, Essie, a girl from North Carolina, or South Carolina, I forget, and a girl from California. And we had this beautiful flat in the 13th district of Paris. It was amazing. It was small, but it was ours. And we had parties, we had people over, we went out, we went dancing, we met strangers on the street. It was just a young, free spirited adventure, and it was amazing. I loved it. And I didn't speak a lot of French, but I tried. Like, I made an effort to practice my French and practice my accent, even though it's still very American. And I went back home and I told myself I would have to come back. Next time I come back, I'm going to live here and work here, and this is going to be my home. I said that in my mind. So it was kind of like a vision before it was a reality. And it's so weird how that works. So I came back, finished college, graduated, and Started working at in Chicago, and I was just so anxious to come back. And I applied for a teaching assistant program with the French government. So I would be a teacher assistant to an English professor or an English teacher in middle school or high school. And I applied for that, and I was so anxious to get it because I had all the qualifications. I had my degree, I spoke well enough French, and I had all the qualifications. So it was perfect age. I was around 24, 25. And I got the email of rejection, and it was so heartbreaking. Oh my goodness. Because you know how things were meant to be. In my head, I'm saying, okay, I have all the qualifications. I put in my application. I know I'm going to get this. This is for me. I know it has my name stamped on it. And I remember the day of getting that email saying that I wouldn't be accepted into this program. I was a hostess at a restaurant in Chicago. I was working two jobs. I was also working in a physical therapy center, hustling. And I got this email, and I remember having my heart drop and feeling like my future plans were literally put down the toilet and flushed. And I remember calling my ex-boyfriend in near tears, and I was on the floor of my job. So customers and clients were, right there, and I had to keep my composure. I was just so drained because my hopes were so high for this. And I was just devastated. So I immediately plan B. I have to get in plan B mode. I can't be frustrated. I'm still going to France. I'm not going this way, but I'll have to go another way. So I had planned to move out of Chicago, go to California with where my boyfriend stayed at the time, and I would do plan B. Either I stay in California for a year, get myself together, and then apply for more schools either in California or in France. The first thing I did was apply for a school in France, and I looked at programs, I looked at the budget, I looked at everything. And I found a program in Cergy where I would learn a year of French, and it would be intense French, and it would be with other non-European people. So it wasn't Erasmus, which is known for European countries having exchange programs. So it wasn't that. It was, people that wasn't from the Eurozone that was coming to France to learn French. So my classmates were Chinese, and there was another American. So yeah, I was just filled with a lot of Asian, lovely people. Learned a lot. But just getting accepted, I got accepted, but I didn't know right away. So with French being very slow in their process of paperwork and administration, I didn't know that at the time. So at the time when I was in California, I was, biting my fingernails, wondering if I was accepted. And there was a point where I said, okay, I'm not accepted, so I have to find a plan C. And while I was looking for my plan C, lo and behold, in France, they were on vacation for the entire month of August. And I didn't get a response. So I thought, I didn't get it. So I finally got the email saying that I was accepted, and I needed a visa. So I wasn't in the process of getting my visa because I didn't think I was getting accepted. So I could have been doing that while everything was in the process, but I couldn't. So I needed the acceptance letter, got that, and I got my visa. Everything was just a roller coaster. It was just a roller coaster. And my ex-boyfriend really, or my boyfriend at the time, really did help me a lot with like calming my nerves and getting everything prepared and having a sponsor and having someone to say, you know, you can afford to move abroad. So that was probably my greatest moments of success in my life. Just because it was so unexpected, and I was on pins and needles, and it showed my persistence. It really did show my character and how, even though I was denied my first attempt to go back to France and learn more and do more and have other goals, I applied for this program and I was accepted and I had the funds to go. I scrambled and, you know, found the credit and found all of my resources. That was probably one of my favorite and most memorable moments. So me actually coming to France, I remember taking a taxi from the airport, and it was a very expensive airport ride from the airport to my dorm room. And the reason why I know it was meant to be is because when I got there, everything was set up for me. Everything was planned. I had my apartment. The administrator who was helping me at the time, she opened up a bank account for me, and all I had to do was, you know, eventually pay my tuition. But it was just like so well planned without me doing that much effort because everything was so last minute. So that was a really amazing, memorable, great moment. And it was very surreal. Like I felt like it was an outer body experience where I'm like, when you actually put your mind to something and you really have that hope and desire and that drive and you actually put your foot to the ground and work for it, things will happen. It is meant to happen. And I just felt on top of the world, on top of the world. And I'm not going to say it was easy. It wasn't easy, but it was smoother than I thought it would be. My first week or 2 weeks of being in France and being where I was in Sergi was an emotional process that I didn't plan for. I couldn't plan for. It was a lot of tears. It was a lot of loneliness. It was a lot of stress and anxiety. It was a lot of doubt of like, can I do this? Am I smart enough? Am I, you know, capable of, will my tongue and my throat make the words that will sound French? It was a lot of stress. And feeling like, okay, they're gonna ship me home. I'm not supposed to be here. They're gonna ship me home. It was a lot of that, and I write that over on Patreon. I'll give you a whole essay of my emotional ups and downs of that moment. But that was one of my greatest moments and my proudest moments. Yes, my second, I talked about my travels. I told myself when I came here the second time that I would travel more because the first time it was only 6 weeks in Paris, but I wanted to see a lot because I'm thinking, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna do the most. I'm gonna do the most, and I had my roommates traveling, going to different cities in France, and I wasn't able to do that. You know, I was able to sit where I was and explore where I was. Like that was my budget. So the second time, and the last time, I guess, I came to France, I said I was going to travel more. So My first trip was to Great Britain. I went to London and Liverpool, and but that wasn't my greatest moment. That wouldn't be on the list of my greatest moments. It was gray and it was nice, but no. I also went to Spain. Spain would be my other greatest moments, bar none. As far as the European countries I visited Valencia, and Valencia is on the east coast of Spain. And I was welcomed and hosted by a wonderful friend, a Spaniard that I met at college in Sergi. And she said, "Oh my God, you want to visit Spain? Don't worry about it. You can come visit my family." And there was a group of like 12 of us, people from Asia and other people from Europe and Latin America, and we all like went to my friend's house and spent 10 days where we like drove the countryside and swam in creeks and jumped from caves into the. It was just the best time, and it wasn't those phenomenal landscape moments or those beautiful architecture moments. It was the time I spent in a local person's house where they didn't speak, her parents did not speak English, and her brother spoke a little English, but it was a saturation of a local, authentic experience that I value the most. Authentic food, the paella, it was just amazing. So that was a phenomenal. Just how hospitable they were and how, just to walk through the little alleyways of their neighborhood to visit the canyon forest area that, we walked their dog, and me learning Spanish words and just me be embracing all of it, because the one thing I do not like is when people confuse traveling and vacationing. That's not the same. I don't like when Americans come to a different country and expect people to speak English and expect people to wait on them hand and foot, or expect to come to a different country and have it be America. You're gonna move, you're gonna travel to a different country and accept that this is how it is. You can at least learn hi, thank you, goodbye in that language, and then ask, do you speak English? And not assume. That is what is a small pet peeve of mine. But the fact that I've really traveled and not just vacation, and went to the vacation spots that cater to vacationers or Westerners, just being in an authentic, rustic, homey town in Valencia, Spain, was probably my other greatest moments. And lastly, I talked about Rue Madame. So that is my next greatest moments. I chose Rue Madame as one of my top greatest moments because it is another chapter of my life. So let me give you the origin of the name Rue Madame. Rue Madame is a street in Paris, and Rue is street, and Madame is madam. In French, mademoiselle is a young unmarried woman, and madame is a young married woman or just a married woman. And I chose Rue Madame because I've transitioned from that 20 something that came to Paris the first time. So I've become a madam. And that's why I called Rue Madame Rue Madame. And it also signifies a path. So Rue is a street, but this is my path into another level of womanhood that I'm so excited to explore and discover. I also want to talk about my future greatest moments. So that is a bonus. The future name of my book is